Hi guys, hi everybody, welcome to Cat Tarot, welcome to my channel. My name is Kat. So let me start first of all with very short housekeeping. I'm on vacay from the 1st to the 7th, so upon my return I will address the readings in order, which will be first urgent, then rush, then regular. And I expect that you're still going to get within the time that you have ordered. So be careful with ordering basically urgent during that week. Also, I won't be able to be contacted, so all of the messages will be returned on the 8th. So guys, also don't forget to join social media, and also remember that I have live on Saturdays. It's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. During the summer months, it's going to be bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks is going to be live. Also, if you're part of my mailing list, which you can go on my website to kind of sign yourself on, then you can get some notification as well. So lastly, guys, if you're new here, welcome. And if there is anything that really resonates with you, one statement, two, whatever, usually not everything resonates because this is a general reading, but if anything resonates, that means that message was meant for you. I also suggest that you check not only your sun sign but also your ascendant and your moon. That's going to give you better kind of like triptych to kind of pull all of things together. So this month, because as probably you can hear, I have horrifying allergies, so it's really hard for me to talk. I'm going to kind of like be more focused, maybe really quick 10 minutes within what YouTube recommends. And I'm going to start with astrology because you really liked it last month, and I'm also going to combine with tarot. So let's do that. Alright, so the overview, astrological overview. The first significant astrologic event of July 2020 is a lunar eclipse, just like the previous month. Also, like the previous month, the eclipse happens on the 5th, but this time the sun-moon opposition is on the Cancer-Capricorn axis, which basically foretells certain situations, and they usually relate to career, or to home, or family. And these situations are either going to reach resolution or some kind of climax. So that keeps it in mind, right? It's kind of like that huggy feeling, but it's also there is like an ambition connecting to it. So many of us might deal with events or situations that put our emotional maturity to the test. And this is like being like a little baby, kind of like, I want this, I want this. So, but if you catch yourself doing that, you go, oh, that's what it is. I'm not completely lost it, right? I didn't completely lose it, right? So many of us may deal kind of like with the situation that we will be tested if we have ability to persevere on our chosen path by honoring our families, but really also at the same time remaining independent from them. So in some cases, this energy of this lunar eclipse can spur an epiphany kind of related to how our families have shaped and influenced choices we have made in our lives, right? Lannister always pays his debts. It's kind of like something that family kind of like ingrained inside of us. So some of us might even decide to make significant changes when it comes to our career or the direction in which our lives were going. And we might actually also reach conclusion that we have been going by the desires of our parents instead of following our own star, following our own dreams. So maybe you want to look and transport yourself back 2 years, because there was like some kind of situation that started like 2 years ago, and now it's ending. It's making room for new directions to go in. So this sun-moon opposition happens around the lunar nodes, and they are situated on Gemini-Sagittarius axis, which suggests the need to free ourselves from that obsolete kind of thing. It's sort of like beliefs or dogmas and something we keep repeating, but it's kind of like you're wondering, like, how do I really connect with this, right? And especially if you have South Node in Sagittarius, which is kind of like being that master in the past life and now needing to communicate it in Gemini, right? So in order to embrace these new ideas, which is that North Node in Gemini, maybe it is a time to ask ourselves what really family means to us. what really happy family is. Hello? Anybody read Anna Karenina? And also whether we can regard society as a whole as a larger family, as part of which we all should contribute. So this guy is really age of Aquarius coming on. Everything that you're seeing outside, it's kind of need for equality. Sometimes the pendulum swings one way too much, but the whole point is understanding that we all want the same. You and the next person, you all want the same. You want happiness, you want love, you want peace. Yeah, maybe one person can have better shoes than the other one, but how important that really is, right? Because the circumstances that we are going to see on a social level can be a sort of a buildup of frustration, and that's why we see this manifestation of unrest, right? So until July 22nd, 2020, lots of twos, 222020, so 4 of them. The Sun transits Cancer. So that's basically also there's Mercury until July 12th. So this is kind of like we need to deal with that retrograde as well. So throughout the month, the Sun and Mercury are in opposition to these other retrograde planets from Capricorn. So like Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. So as a result, we will notice that it's not quite easy to find a balance between a private and professional lives. Many of us are working from home, and this could be pandemic kind of like imposed, or it could be that you're self-employed and you really have to figure out how to motivate yourself when you're sort of like not, especially if you're extrovert, where you kind of like need other people, how to draw that energy when you're like kind of like withdrawn or secluded, right? So it might be tensions with family members or higher-ups, so kind of like no time to kind of like make these big waves, but discussions have a great chance of proving to be really productive, provided that we are patient enough. Cancer is one patient sign. So happy birthday, Cancers. If I'm forgetting to say that, it is your time, and it is really amazing how one sign can encompass both this like kind of come to my heart, come and shrewdness about focusing and chasing your own goals. So let's go back also to that retrograde planets in Capricorn, that are Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, but Mars is still in Aries, and this is its own domicile. So just think about you came home. You're not anymore at Aunt's house. You no longer have to dress for breakfast. You no longer kind of like have to comb your hair and everything. You can kick and do whatever you want, right? So as of the end of the previous month, 27th, and it has the opposite effect, right? So as a result, we are really confident in our own devices, and sometimes this is too much. You see people who you think like, oh, you really shouldn't be confident, but it's kind of like ultimately a good thing, because we all are kind of like walking that perch, and we all are going to face our own demons. So there is no need for us to correct anybody, right? And it's going to be really strong need for novelty and pioneering, and we might run into obsolete system. So I don't know, maybe your grandparents will want you to kind of like check their, what was this, like 8-track or something, kind of like hilarious. So kind of like, again, advice is just be patient, guys, in this situation. So keep in mind that, you know, during the near future, we can progress without keeping in mind the past, right? So for some of us, this might be a right time to resume some older projects that we have been postponing for whatever reason. So Mars is the one that gives us the desire to see this project through, and also gives us that dose of boldness which we have been missing in the past. So socially, however, there might be a buildup of frustrations and tensions that might trigger a conflict. It would be like, blah, like I always wanted to tell you, but blah, it's all out there, right? And so it can trigger that conflict, and it can blow up as of August 2020. That's when Mars will square with the planet situated in Capricorn, right? During this term, it's more important than ever to carefully weigh Our every decision, gesture, and word, whatever you're talking about love life, sex life, professional projects, your social life, whatever, right? We should always keep in mind the long-term consequences and even remember the mistakes of the past so we don't make them again. Yeah, we usually remember that later. So during this term, saving graces can be professionalism, a responsible attitude, all kind of like we have to thank to Cancer for teaching us all of that, and also the ability to come up with long-term strategies. We also shouldn't feel obligated to solve all issues at once or the same moment, the same day. So since Mars spends a lot of time in its domicile sign, so it's usually spending 6 weeks, and now it's spending whopping 6 months, right? It's going to be also in retrograde motion in September, in the fall, right? So everything we now initiate is likely to go through an ample process of remaking and redefining a couple of months from now, because that's what happens in retrograde. You're looking, like, did I switch the light off? Did it, like, you're checking yourself a little bit, right? So do not rush it, right? Then we also have conjunction of Mars and Chiron, July 12th to 16th, which points out the fact that in some of our lives, some older issues and frustrations might come to light when we thought them long gone, right? We can make the most of the energy of this conjunction in order to become aware of the wounds that trigger an aggressive self-defense mechanism. Conjunction means they're really, really close, right? 2 degrees close. So almost like in the sky, they look like they're hugging, kind of a thing, right? So this is also kind of like finding a way toward healing. And by doing that, again, as I said, we are all connected. You have to keep others in mind too, right? So don't kind of like think, oh, I got hurt, I'm going to make you suffer as well. That's not going to work unless you want to kind of bring some really negative karma points on you, right? So Mars also, because now we have Mars in Aries and Venus in Gemini, so very flirty, very aggressive, right? So socially, it's going to be kind of like bursting. It's going to be open and it's going to be daring, and maybe getting a chance to build new connections. I guess stay safe as I'm saying this, but this simply, many of us will forget that kind of like word of caution, right? So the effects of the Mars-Venus combo also mean good news for those who are involved in older or even newer relationships, because they can easily kind of like evade the day-to-day rut and come up with really smart comeback that create a desire for flirting and goofing around, right? It's like usually when we really need to say something, clever, like we get stuck and then we say something boring and go, I had this opportunity. Why did I kind of like lose it, right? Also keeping in mind that at the same time, possessive or codependent people, or some of those people who decide, nope, I'm not going to change. Oh, sweet negative me, I'm going to be this way, what it is. They're going to feel completely out of base. They're going to feel really weirded out. It's going to be really super easy to spot them, almost as if all the lights are shining on them, and not in a good way, right? Because the energy of this term favors relationships in which partners know how to allow each other space and freedom of thought, right? So that's much so far, guys, and let's go in the individual signs and see how, in addition, that spiritually Hello, Cancer, and I wish you happy birthday, and I hope your birthday transition is going to treat you very well. So let's start and see what the spiritual path and what kind of like lessons you guys have, in addition to some kind of like setup, astrological setup that we already have going. You might feel a little exhausted. Look at this, like 4 of Swords. It is like, let's see which one is the first major. Whoa, Justice. You are feeling very strong. If somebody has hurt you, if somebody has kind of like done things to wrong you, Things are coming in balance. You know, things about justice always get served. Not maybe necessarily right away, not necessarily when we want it. The sky doesn't open, the earth doesn't open when we want that person to be swallowed, but things do actually change, which is kind of like really important to kind of like understand over here. Then we have 10 of Wands. So something new is turning around. Something new has to start. Something has been a burden. Something was really hard. Maybe you were holding a secret and it was really hard on you. Maybe it's a time that that secret has to be told, because as I said, certain things don't make sense anymore. You're looking into things and trying to figure out how to do them differently, and why are you doing them in the first place. It's going to be really, really important. Let's leave this guy who is kind of like giving his blessings for being where he is, which is kind of a really lovely card. About this card is about that we go out, we try different things, but then we stabilize, we are kind of like feeling more comfort with it, right? We have, interestingly enough, you had the first major was justice over here, which kind of like, as I told you, things are coming in balance. But things are coming in balance after you might need to kind of process certain things from the past. This is going to be really strange. You have the Judgment card, also Karma card, right? And this one came reversed. When this comes reversed, it means that we want to camouflage or deny something that we did to somebody. And this time of reckoning. It is time to say and fess up. It just say sorry. It is a time to clean the slate. This is your birthday time. It usually happens during this time, and it's propelling you to go forward. So it is telling you, oh, look, you have your birthday boy, your birthday girl, happy birthday to you. But now when you're at this kind of like space where you feel so powerful, why not to kind of like use this power to really show this humbleness, to really show how you probably affected someone. And it could have been some kind of like a battle that I see over here for you, right? That you really needed to go into, that was exhausting. Maybe you couldn't do something. Maybe you broke the promise, and you broke the promise because something was just too much for you, and you just couldn't deal with the situation. So you said, just fine, and you didn't keep the promise. Something like that, right? Oh my gosh, like how many signs are going to get this card this month? Like we are going, there's like a new thing, like looks like this feeling stuck. No matter if that was because of pandemic or something in our life, things are moving forward. We are moving in a new direction. You're becoming very adventurous. You're kind of like having prospects. This is about maybe looking for a new job, looking for promotion, having some kind of like contract, self-employment kind of thing that is going on, where you are kind of like trying to figure out, okay, I can have something small on the side in addition to things. But this is also cards of hopes, of friendships, of relationships, of partnerships. And it's also sorting things out. Sometimes in life we keep on crossing these things, and we have a partner who has to be our best friend, to be our lover. No, it doesn't happen. Not everybody can be everything. Not possible. You cannot be everything. It's an impossible standard. So if somebody is putting that standard on you, just clue them in and just say, this is why I failed. I just can't do that. It doesn't mean that I don't love you. It doesn't mean that I don't care about you. Or you might just hear something like that. It just means I can't. I still want to go out with my girlfriends or with my buddies, because they give me a little bit different feeling. It doesn't mean that I love you less, right? You need to trust me, kind of a thing, right? Yes, it was some kind of like argumentative situation in the past. It was some kind of goal that kind of like slipped away. You may have been in a situation that was lots of arguing or bickering. It could be 4 or 5 people involved. That could be immediate or kind of like by extension, so it could be a few couples, etc. Or it was that maybe an example has been given. Oh, so and so, they're doing so well, but you know, the grass is always greener in the neighbor's garden, kind of a thing. So don't trust everything that people tell you, because we live Instagram time, and it's really bad because everybody has the best lunch, everybody looks the best, everybody's posting their pictures. When did you see me putting the picture? Ever. It is because I really want you to listen to me, to connect with me. So there is like this kind of like, it was an ego-driven situation that is coming to culmination in your situation. And you're feeling, ooh, I gotta watch it. Maybe you have overspent the money, and look at this, there are 4 force showing up here. And maybe a guy is simply dating an Aries, or being with an Aries, or feeling this Mars energy that is coming in your house, and you're really motivated to move forward. But also by doing that, you're a little confused, because you're like saying, I need to do this planning, I need to do the strategy. And this is also actually maturity, understanding that just by doing, you might not get anywhere. It is planning plus doing that gets you somewhere else, not one or another, kind of on its own. So then you have the Lover's card. So when I see the Lover's card, it's always that journey. It's always like, you know, in between the Hierophant and your card, the Chariot. And it's kind of like, look at how it's really lovely shown over here. They're chasing each other's tails, right? And this can be perpetual. It's kind of like somebody has to go from the outside and say, stop here. Like, what's up? Like, I mean, just embrace each other. And it is about, you know, kind of like fruits. And this card is also about fruits. What you have given out is going to come back. To you is going to come back both positive and negative. I would say it will be more positive, but what is negative is requiring of you to, as I said, to kind of like really speak about some situation. Maybe, you know, like, I mean, in AA, you have to call these people who you wronged or abused and apologize. And it's really ridiculous when, you know, you want to get rid of that bully or drunk or something, but then you basically hear from them. So that's kind of like really a little bizarre that is really happening. So just kind of like keep this in mind as well about all of this, right? So now, in your own house, you have 8 of Wands. For you guys, I think love is in the air. This is a really good combination. You might be meeting a Gemini. You might be meeting Sagittarius. You might be meeting Scorpio or Libra. They are really, really strongly emphasized over here. But you might also kind of like meet an air sign, water sign, or a little bit of fire sign. But this fire simply means, like, I mean, fire in the energy. Whenever you date, it's fire, no matter what kind of sign it is. This card is arrows of love. You're willing to open up. So maybe you're coming in the month a little bit kind of like closed in, and then as it goes along around the 8th, you're opening up, and I think around the 12th, you're finishing this Mercury retrograde, and then things are going to get better. Oh my gosh, your environment, your family absolutely loves you. You might also, guys, some of you might propose, or somebody might propose to you. This is also maybe time that somebody says, oh, I wrote you in my will. This might be the time that somebody says, you know, I always hope that you and I will be an item, that you and I will go all the way. And I kind of like still see it, what do you think, kind of a thing, right? So your hopes and fears in the situation, oh my gosh, you're very romantic, you're getting the moon, and this is on the July the 2nd, I believe. It's the full moon, as we can see it over here. It is about completion of some sort, and it's about realization, about a new path you really want to take. Look at this moon, we have it here, we have it here. The moon is always about the dreams, and yet they're dreams. It could be illusions. It could be also about jealousy. Maybe you have been dealing with somebody who has been extremely jealous, but then you have to ask yourself why they have been jealous. And maybe, you know, it is how you did things. Maybe you wanted to go out with your buddies and somebody felt you're going to kind of like cheat, but it is like, look, you know, I really need that because I just cannot be everything to you. I needed my space. It is how things are basically being positioned, right? How they're communicated. Maybe I'm not feeding them with love. Maybe I think I'm showing it, but I'm not saying it. I need to say it more. They need to feel comfortable. They need to feel strong, right? You guys are just not very much of a sign. As much as you feel intensely, you're not going out and blabbing, I love you, love you, love you. Like, I mean, I hear people on every single phone call, I love you. Really? Did you forget it since like 10 minutes ago? Why don't you save it and it means something versus it's like a napkin that is kind of like trashed away? And there is discomfort. You are loving it. You are enjoying your birthday. You are feeling pampered. You are actually feeling that this new setup, this new thing, why haven't I done it long time ago? Why not? Why not? You're going to feel really comfort in the situation. So as I said, it's going to be some kind of like concession that you need to make, but overall, that's going to be freaking fantastic. So enjoy your month. Happy birthday. If you want a reading with me, check my website, cattarot.ca, and you know that I love you, and join my social media so you can get your daily dose of tarot. Love you and all the best.